Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be xhairymuppetx, and I am going to be casting. Actually, I think it's a Masters level game. With on the top level side, we do have UltiBahamut. That is the correct way to say it. Bahamut. Bahamut. Actually, shit. Now that I say it, it does actually sound Bahamut. Bahamut. I don't know. I think it's some. I have no idea where that word comes from. I have no idea how to say it, but it's a fairly cool word. It means like there's dragons and stuff like that. It's a type of medieval fantasy dragon or something like that, so that's pretty awesome. Down the bottom right side, we do have our blue Terran player. Now this blue Terran player is in Diamond League, and this red Zerg is in Masters League. So there we go, we've got a Masters versus Diamond game. I will have to say, first off, sorry that I haven't posted any games the last few days. I put a comment on my YouTube channel saying I had a throat infection, and I did actually have a throat infection. It was not a lot of fun. If you've heard one of my casts over the past month or so, and you've heard me coughing incessantly through the game, that is it. And it started getting really bad. I had to take some time off work, but I've got myself some antibiotics now. They seem to be clearing it up, so I'm still coughing a little bit, but it's getting a lot better. And there's a lot of antibiotics still in the pack, so I think by the time they're all finished, I should be completely cleared up, and then we can really start getting stuck into games. Unless, of course, the throat infection, the coughing, was caused by me casting too many Starcraft games. Which, in that case, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. I'm going to be completely screwed and completely pissed off, and I really can't say what happened in there. Maybe I'll just go on antibiotics full time and just keep casting, because it really is just an absolute ton of fun. We do have a nice hatchery coming down. It's a hatchery before pool here, around the normal 14 timing, so that's pretty standard. We do have the Terran player. He goes for the Varix, he goes for the orbital command, he goes for a bunch of workers and stuff like that. He does have his first marine out, but there's no scouting drone for it to repel. There's just an overlord coming down the side, and you can see the overlord just coming down, and all he wants to see is the early expansion, and he does not see an early expansion, a really early expansion. But of course he knows he's facing a Terran player, so he knows that if the Terran player was to expand early, then he could build it on the main island, as he is doing now, and then shift it over there. So this overlord can expect to wait a few minutes before seeing that orbital command fly on down there. Now here we go. This is interesting. We've got 24 supply. This is a 4-minute speed for the Lings, so we know that he's going to actually make something happen with the Lings. Now usually a lot of players, when they go out for the early expansion, early sporting pool, they will get a few Lings, just for defense, scouting purposes, grab the Zelnaga watchtowers, do a bit of scouting. They don't usually get speed really early unless they really want to make something happen with the Lings. So speed with the Lings, I expect that he wants to get something in there. Usually if he was going for early roach tech or something like that, then he would just get the roaches, and maybe about the 10-minute mark he'd finally get speed when it becomes clear that he needs a more mid-game mix sort of army, which would have to include Lings. But speed very early on. And there we go. I'd expect an attack to come soon, which I'm not sure really is that smart a move. He's probably expecting the command center to come down. You see he's moved his overlord in a bit more. He can just see when the building's about to land. In fact, this distance may be absolutely perfect. I'm not sure, because I do think the command center has a smaller viewing distance than the overlord. So it's possible the command center could sit down here, and the command center could not see the overlord, but the overlord could see the command center. So there we go. We've got a bunch of marines here. Lings might be able to take this out, but it would need a huge number. So I reckon I would not be surprised to see a bunch of roaches coming out, because that is a very fair amount of marines for this point in the game. I mean, 12 marines. That's quite a force. I mean, he could go in there and he could do some damage. So either he's going to have to take into roaches, or he's going to have to rely on his spine crawlers. It looks like he's going to rely on his spine crawlers. 2 more coming down here. the Marines this early in the game, I suppose he's not expecting them to have stim, and indeed they do not have stim. So he's not super worried about them, but they're still going to be a bit dangerous. I don't think he knows about the Hellions, so the Hellions might catch him unprepared. They might run all the way past the Queens, but he is going to see these 2 Queens. He's not going to run past them. They're just going to run back. And there we go, 4 Hellions and a bunch of Marines. You can expect the Marines to try and keep the Queens occupied. Oh, here we go. This is brilliant. First dropship coming down, but the Zerg player, way ahead of the game, he's already started spreading creep. Yeah, he's barely spread any at the front, but he spread some creep down here. And that was just an absolutely fantastic move. I don't know if he was expecting this, but the fact he's got the creep down there has really worked in his favour. The creep tube is seeing this entire thing. He's got time to move the spine crawlers down in front of this base, and they are going to help so much at defending this Marine push. Bunch of Lings going to come out now. Hellions are going to roast it all. It's going to be down to the spine crawlers and the Queens to move these forces away, but unfortunately this base is relatively undefended. These guys are going to come in. The Queen goes down quite a lot, quite fast, to the Marine attack, and there we go. So very, very nice play from the Terran player, getting that very fast medevac, just jumping up the cliff. The Zerg had a beautiful defense for his expansion. He had a few Queens out there, more Queens than he needed for lava, so he may have been expecting the Hellions. But yeah, he was not expecting that medevac drop, I don't think. He had the creep out there, which was lucky for him. I can't say whether or not he put the creep out there because he was expecting a medevac. I wouldn't have thought so, because a medevac could just drop here, and in fact it's way more likely to drop up there. And the Zerg wouldn't have seen it until it's too late. Of course the building would have seen it, maybe. This building probably saw this area. Yeah, so that's probably alright. But it probably didn't see this area. So yeah, maybe he was just worried about a drop there. Probably more worried about Reapers at this early stage than an actual drop. But there we go. This spread, it really did help him out. And it allowed him to get the spine crawlers up there and defend his main base. But unfortunately the Terran player just said, well, you know what? You've got a defense force which takes 5 seconds to set up. It is completely so you move all your defenses over to the main base. I'm just going to move across to the other base. I mean, I don't care which base I hit, as long as I hit a base. And the Zerg player's like, well, shit, now what do I do? I mean, he can't. If he had creep up here, then I might have expected him to run the drones away, get the spine crawlers up here. Yeah, see, I don't know. He knew that he was going to lose this base at the moment, at that point, and really, I've got to say, just in my opinion, that the Zerg player really made the mistake back here. A few minutes ago, he sent a couple of Lings up here for scouting. You saw 10 Marines. 10 Marines up here. Now, I don't know about you guys, but it's very rare to see a barracks with a reactor just spawning out Marines that fast. And if you go up there at like the 5-minute mark or something and you see 10 Marines already, you know, right, all right, this guy's invested some shit into getting quite a few Marines. And this is something I'm going to have to deal with. I mean, the Hellions were harassing, but the main damage coming out of this force is definitely the Marines. I mean, that Queen went down quite fast, and that was because all the Marines were hitting him. So there we go. I mean, the Zerg player saw the 10 Marines, and he's got to think, all right, what do I do to counter the Marines? And like I said when I was casting the game, spine crawlers, pretty good defense against Marines, and I think he might have held it off, but the medevac caught him off guard, and once the medevac dropped all the units in there, I mean, there was no hope anymore. He needed mobile units which could counter the Marines. He needed the Roaches. He didn't have them. He didn't take over to Roaches when he had the chance, when he saw the Marines, and it cost him. I mean, it just cost him not having the Roaches, being caught off guard by that nice medevac hop, and then running down here into hit the expansion anyway. And not having the roaches at that stage just cost you. Roaches would have done so much damage here. Hellions are crap versus them. Marines are half good, but they just die so quickly to roach fire. So yeah, there we go. That was me casting this game between UltiBahamut and JohnShooter. And JohnShooter proving he has got the stuff to go against a Masters player here. And I hope he does get up to Masters level if he keeps playing. So there we go. Thank you very much for watching this awesome game. And hopefully my throat thing keeps getting better and better. And we'll keep casting a lot more games. So thank you very much for watching. This has been Hairy Muppet.